Howdy, everybody, and welcome to another edition of us reviewing a movie by Patreon request. I'm Uncle Bill.
And I'm the creepy Kentuckian, if you will. And let me tell you something, baby. Today, we're going to take a look at a movie, baby, called The Baby.
This is Dusty's favorite movie, The Baby. Baby.
From 1972, when the American dream was filling up a Tupelo Civic Center. They made this weird-ass movie in the early 70s that I couldn't imagine.
No. Nope.
The time frame when this movie came out, this thing was, Ted Post is the director who did Magnum Force. That was one of the Dirty Harry movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And Beneath the Planet of the Apes. So he did some mainstream hits later on.
Right.
But he also did 1972 The Baby. Which
when I started watching this movie, man, I was like, I cannot believe that this movie existed in any time period, let alone the early 70s. Like, I was at a loss for fucking words.
This is definitely would have been a killer movie for the Exploit Nation show.
Yeah,
and you just can't do a movie like this today. I mean, it's surprising that they did it then. And our buddy Carta Jordantian is the one that requested this. And the odd thing about this is, now this DVD that I've got here was a screener sent from Severin Films 13 or 14 years ago. I think they may have later done a Blu-ray of it or whatever, but we never did watch it. Like, I think it's, I don't know why we didn't, because just the plot of the movie itself.
It's okay. For one thing, the name is too generic. Like, you can't figure out anything good about the plot by the name. But not that you really could anyway. But I mean, like, the name is just it's not something that just stays with you. It's a seriously underground film anyway. Like, I don't hear anybody reference this movie, like, ever. Like, it's just not brought up. And I don't really understand why, because it's along the lines of shit to me, like Crazy Fat Ethel and things like, where it's like a cult underground movie that's fucking hilarious. Like, in so many different ways.
Okay, the deal with this movie.
Buttons liked it.
Yeah, Buttons got into it. And honestly, like, aside from a couple of short scenes, this could have easily been a TV movie.
It looks like a TV movie, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of, because I'm a big fan of the 70s TV terror movies, like horror movies, that they did a lot of those on TV. Back in the day. Gargoyles was one, Bad Ronald, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, stuff like that. I love shit like that. Summer Fear is another one. And this is along those lines, man. So the plot of this one is a social worker by the name of Anne, played by Anne Jeanette Comer.
Yeah.
All these actors have freaking normal. Anne Jeanette, I have never heard of that name ever in my life. This is an American movie, by the way. This is not a foreign movie at all. But she's a social worker who has been assigned to work the case of the Wadsworth family, which is a bizarre one. The mother's played by Ruth Roman, and there's two young daughters from her, like sexy vixen types that would be in like dirty Russ Meyer movies around that time period. That's what it reminded me of. Mariana Hill, played by Mariana Hill, and Suzanne Zenor. And they have a mentally ill brother by the name of Baby. And Baby looks like, what is he, 20, 25 years old?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he looks almost 30 years old.
They dress him up like a baby still. He still shits his pants. He wears diapers. He can't walk. He crawls everywhere. He cries. He takes a bottle. He basically hasn't, mentally aged since like 2 or 3 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's handicapped, but this social worker has a bizarre fascination with him from pretty much the day. And she wants to help him. She wants to put him in this school where she thinks that he'll actually progress. And she's starting to tell her colleagues that, hey, I think this family is messed up. There's some abuse going on here. I don't think he's as mentally ill as they're saying. And so she starts to investigate a little bit further and ends up kidnapping baby. And I'm like, what? What? And the fucking
Yeah.
the family doesn't like call they could have easily called the police or whatever else. They don't do that. Right?
No, they basically form a plot to murder her and then like try to go to her house to like get
The
kill
roles
her.
the roles are reversed
Ah, yeah. Yes.
though. And the twist ending towards the end of it too. Well, this is just fucking out there. But there's shots in this movie too where this is something else that never happened today, where they're showing the inside of that special needs school
Yeah.
that has real
Yeah.
like kids with Down syndrome,
Yeah.
right, in it, and with real mental problems.
Well, there's another shot in this movie too where I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!" Like, what the fuck? Like,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there's a couple of shots actually, like throughout the whole like runtime of the movie. I was just kind of in disbelief that this movie was made and existed because there's scenes of like this woman who's a babysitter that for apparently no reason starts making out with him and like
There's a titty sucking scene
titty
there.
and I'm like,
He's
what?
nursing.
What? Then like, the family in it are all scumbags. They just want to keep him like disabled to get a check, and that's what their main kind of priority is. And they just keep him like they use a cattle prod on him to keep him from like getting up or doing anything or like even like trying to stand up. And so there's really like nobody in the family or anybody to root for or anything like that. So then as the story goes along, like there's this fucking hilarious like party scene
Yeah.
where baby is brought up and to the party, and then like I'm not even gonna say the shit that happens there.
This actor
I don't
that
think
plays
you could.
baby is not mentally handicapped at all. It's just a regular guy. And this would get him in big trouble nowadays too. You just can't do that. Where he's pretty much playing a mentally handicapped man, crying.
Yeah,
There's also hints of incest with the sister, one of the sisters and baby. The mother in this played by Ruth Roman, who I think she was in Strangers on a Train, the Hitchcock movie. Classic Hollywood actress. She's great in it. Like she does, I
yeah.
think she does the best job in the entire movie, just playing the evil, over controlling, sadistic. There's something else going on here. You're thinking, right? When really, much like Roddy Piper says, when you think you've got all the answers, they change the questions. And I honestly thought that they were going somewhere else with it.
I did too.
That there was another reason why they were handicapping the baby, that maybe he was like, a sadistic killer or something like that in his right mind.
Here's what I thought, honestly. Like I thought what was going to happen is you were going to come to find out that he wasn't handicapped at all. Like he was just pretending to do that either to get them money or for like because he was a killer or something that was trying to hide from the police. But when you when you do find out what the actual twist ending is, it's way more fucked up than any of that for sure.
It is. For 1972, man, like this movie does a lot. It goes a lot of places. I couldn't imagine at that time, the way the world was, this movie coming out. It's just 1972 and where they went with this movie. But this gets a very high recommendation for me. I actually really, really enjoyed this. Again, I'm a big fan of those 70s TV movies, and it reminded me a lot of that. But yeah, I think the reason a lot of people may not know it is poor title choice. The baby. They could have done something else. I don't know what I would have named it, but yeah, that's
Well,
kind
when
of a
you see
generic
it,
title.
like what I thought it was going to be was like kind of like a generic It's Alive or something like that. That's what I thought based on the title and everything. But it's nothing like that. Like, and I agree with you. Like, I'm kind of ashamed that I've never seen this movie or heard about this movie. Or, I mean, I don't know how this one passed me by, man, because this is exactly the type of crazy, low budget cult kind of film that I like. And just the elements of it are so fucking out there that it's a perfect cult film, really.
It really is. And honestly, like this DVD looks fantastic to me. Like I think this is the first time that anybody had remastered the movie. And for a DVD, wow, I was like shocked. I was like, this looks really, really freaking good. So it's one that I liked it a lot. Would I upgrade it? Probably not. This is plenty good enough for me to watch if I want to watch it again. But yeah, I mean, the baby high recommendation. I think it's out of print on Severn's site, but you can still find it online, like on eBay and stuff like that, if anybody wants to check it out. But it is streaming on YouTube as well, if you don't want to pay anything.
It's actually a pretty good stream too. Like the quality of it's pretty good. Like I was surprised. I guess they got it off a Blu-ray rip or something. Like that's what it looks like.
Probably. Yeah, they did do a Blu-ray. Scratch is saying that Arrow did a Blu-ray as well. And I know Severn's got a Blu-ray and this DVD. This DVD is from like 2011, 2012, something like that. And this is one that they had sent us back when it came out, and we just never reviewed it. I don't know what in the hell was going on.
There's just something about it, man, that looks so generic that like you can't like if you knew what this movie was, you would watch it immediately. Or at least I know I would have if I would have known back in the day.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, like I said, of that early to mid 70s sort of horror. Like, it does have that made for TV feel to it. So I really enjoyed it a lot. High recommendation for me, and big shout out to Carter Dench, and this was his request for the month of January 2025. That was a damn good one, man.
Yeah, that's a perfect kind of request for. It's like it's amazing.
Yeah, it's one that we had never ever reviewed, never seen before. So that's
you want to see a grown
stuff.
Man like dressed up like a baby go after a ball that's thrown out in the yard and then try to bring it back.
Everybody shits his fucking pants.
He shits himself.
So I guess that is it for this review, though. We appreciate everybody tuning in and everything. Stay tuned for some more creamy horror goodness over on DEADPIT.com. I want all these people to click everything they're supposed to click.
You haven't been liking them, you haven't been subscribing to them, you haven't clicked the bell or notification or anything like that.
Folks, why don't you click the like button?
Do you hate us? Do you not want to see us succeed?
Why don't you click the heart button?
Is this something that you have against our particular show?
Why don't you subscribe?
You should click on one of them buttons right now if you want us to continue to bring greatness into your life.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last Out on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. You know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decade.
Here's what other fucking Patreons do. They're like, hey, give us money, and then we'll let you see a video early that we're going to release like a fucking week from now, and then that's all we're going to give you. Meanwhile, we have a literal jukebox full of songs, thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram. And help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So DeadPitOnPatreon.com. Join today. Tiers start at only $1, but I'd recommend at least the $10 tier.
You can do 50. The stock market's crashing around us, folks, but send us money.